everybody, it's Kathy Champion, and you're back with me at Random Acts of Crafting. And when I left off in part 1 of this cute little Christmas card, we were at this sorry about that. I am so sorry. I'm not even going to cut. I'm just going to go. I need to put this thing on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, this is where we were at. And let me move my camera just a tiny bit. There we go. So what I wanted to do is decide whether I want to use this piece or this piece, because I did do kind of a trial run. And I think I like that darker. It might not show up on the camera as being darker, but it definitely is. So I'm going to use that. I think that's going to look much prettier with this. And so just as a rule of thumb, if you do make this card, your piece that you're going to do your distress inking on, you may want to ink it a little bit darker. Maybe go with the broken china. This one here was done with the tumbled glass. So, you know, you can play with it. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. You may not have these dies to cut the exact thing, but you can do a snowman. You can do some, if you don't have this flourish that makes this whimsical snow, you could very easily do a bunch of snowflakes, like they were just kind of piled up and the snowman sitting in them. We're also going to do some snowflakes up through here, and I'm going to cut Merry Christmas probably 2 or 3 times out of a die set, and we're going to do that in gold paper. So I think that's going to be stunning on there. So let me go ahead and get my my die cut machine. I'm going to grab my dies. I keep all my Christmas dies since I have been working on a lot of Christmas cards. I put my folder in into this little bag, and it just makes it so much easier. These are all of my Christmas sayings and words, so I'm just going to pull all those out, and then I'm going to... Hey everybody, I am so sorry for my interruptions, but I am back, and actually I did not get back to this as soon as I would like. When we left before, I think I was in the middle of cutting these out. I decided not to go with these, even though I will probably save this piece and use it on another card. But I decided, because I am going to use some snowflakes and they have silver, so I just felt like that the gold was not exactly what I wanted for this card. Now, if I cut out the silver and I don't like it, I may go back to the gold. But what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to bring up my Big Shot, and I'm going to load up my plates. And I've got some silver, some beautiful silver foil paper, and I'm just going to lay this down, and I am going to cut out only one out of the silver, and I am going to cut the rest of this out of some white cardstock, some heavy, very heavy cardstock, and I'm just going to glue this to it. And the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to save as much of my foil as I possibly can. Let's see if we can get this to lay on here like that. That looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'm going to run this through probably about 4 times, 2 forward and 2 back, because I want to make sure that this cuts. And this foil paper, I got this off of Amazon, and it seems to cut really well. So for that, I'm very, very grateful. So yeah, see, that cut out really pretty. It's all up in the die, but we're gonna pick that out and go with that. So let's go ahead and use my plates and move our... No, we don't want to move the Big Shot. I'm sorry. I am going to use a piece of the Not Your Mama's cardstock. If I can find a scrap down here, that would be perfect. If I can't, I'll just grab a piece and we'll go with that. But wouldn't it be wonderful to find a little scrap of that, and I really need to make a separate place for that Not Your Mama's scrap. So when I am needing a thick piece, oh, I did find one. Look, hot diggity dogs. But anyway, I think this will get my cut at least once. I really would love to do it twice, but if we can only do it once, that's okay. So what I'm going to do before I go any further is I'm going to go ahead and pick this out. And this picks out just by using your little pokey tool. Let me move this off again, and because I want you to be able to see everything that I'm doing. So I'm just going to bring this over here. I'm going to tap that like this and see how much comes out on its own. Not very much. Okay, so we're going to just hit these little holes. That's what these holes in the back of your dies are for. They help you release your piece. See, that piece came out. So it looks like now I did lose the little dot over the eye. I may have to cut this twice out of the or maybe I can use a piece of this. I think I can use that piece. Yeah, we'll just use that piece. Sometimes you can improvise. It doesn't have to be the exact piece that was supposed to be the... that needs to come out, and that. Let's see now if we can lift this off just a little bit more of the poking. I guess that's why we call this a pokey tool, because it definitely helps you poke out your little pieces. That's another little piece that we could use. And I believe that's a piece right there. And this can be quite tedious, but you know, the effects of when you get this done and you put this on your piece of work, I think we got it loose right there. Once you get it loose, you can get your fingernail under it, and then you can pretty much just peel it out. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I don't think that the camera does this justice, but look at that. Oh, I think it's so pretty. So I'm going to lay this over here, and I am going to use this for the dot on my eye, so I'm going to put it right there. And then I'm going to rake these little pieces of scraps up. And when I can't get up with my hand, I'm going to bring out my trusty little vacuum. And now we're going to bring the big shot up one more time, like this. And we're going to load our plate and our die. And I'm going to try to angle this just like this, hoping that if I need to, I can get another piece there. Don't know that I will, but we can try. So now I'm just going to load this in, and we're going to crank it through. Now this is a much heavier cardstock than the Merry Christmas that I cut out of the foil paper. The foil paper is very thin, so I need this to have something to stick that to show a little bit of I guess stability in the piece. So that's the purpose. A lot of times when we do sentiments, we will cut them 3 or 4 times and stack them anyway. So I was thinking if I could cut this, oh, it lifted right off. That's nice. Now let's see. Let's see if we can get it out of here. Looking good so far. And you want to be really careful when you're pulling it away, especially when it's a heavy piece like this. It is very easy to tear it, and tearing's not what we want. If we tear this, we're going to have to recut it, and we don't want to do that for a couple of reasons. Time reasons and the waste of our cardstock. So just spend a little extra time and work it until you get it loose. And now all we have to do is poke out the little places where like here and here. And right there. And the S did not poke through. This one right here. And when you're up close, you can actually see that. So, you know, you need to just work those little areas until you get all of those pieces out. Like right there under the Y, the loop in the Y, there's a little piece. And I know I'm working off screen, and I do apologize, but I'm going to cut again, so I don't want to move my big shot. I'll tell you what, let's just lay that over there, and after we cut, we'll get back to it. So, and we'll clean it up then. All right, let's see if we can get this cut one more time right here. And I think that's going to work, and I'm making good use of this piece of cardstock, which is exactly what we want to do, because when you've got a little scrap, especially when it's an expensive and good quality cardstock, even if it's a scrap, you do not want to waste a bit of it. See how this one came out. Oh, this one came out really good. Ah, much better. All right, let's take the big shot out of our way. And this way you can actually see what I'm doing as I'm working these pieces out. And that's important. Okay, so as you can see, it is stuck in to the piece of paper, but not as bad as that first one. That first one was really hooked up in there, and it did not want to let loose. Let's see if we can get this without it. And this again is where your pokey tool comes in, because you can hold the paper down like that as you pull it. And look at that, I have hardly any of that left. So that's the way to use up a scrap. And you know, if y'all don't organize your scraps, you might want to do that. Go through your scraps, and as you all know, I've showed you my system. I have some folders, and I have all of my scraps in folders in color groups. So all the blues and the purples all the blues are in one folder, all the shades of purple and lavenders are in a folder. So it makes no difference whether it's light or dark. I'll call it the primary color green, and it can be everything from spring green to forest green in that one folder, but it lets me know that everything in there is green. So when I'm looking for a green piece of paper, I can go there and find it. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to try to line these up as perfectly as I possibly can and glue them together. But I think before I do that, the top piece, the very top piece, needs to be glued on first. So I think I'm going to do that one first, and then we'll glue the back one. So in order to see this a little better, I am going to put on a pair of very high-powered magnifying glasses. I know that sounds crazy, but when you're dealing with little small pieces of something, it really does help to have a way to see exactly what you're doing. So, okay. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to put the glue on this one or the glue on this one? I think we're going to do the glue on the actual silver piece. And I'm going to do a technique where I'm just going to dot. I'm going to get my glue flowing. I'm going to start it over here. There it goes. And I'm just going to dot. And as I dot, I'm going to spread it. I saw a girl use this technique. I don't remember who she was, but I know she said that if you dot your glue when you're putting it on a sentiment like this that you cut out, that it will be much easier to put together. So we're going to try that and see. Did not get that out of that one. There we go. So we're going to dot. The bad thing about the art glitter glue is you have to move fast because it dries so quickly. That's the bad thing about art glitter glue, but the good thing about art glitter glue is it dries fast. So it's like that double-edged sword that we've always heard about, you know. What's good about it is also what's bad about it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very gently sit this down on the C and the H, lining up the M, and I'm just pressing down as I go. This is the hardest part of this card, is just getting the wording lined up so that you don't have that double shadow effect. That's not what I'm looking for in here. I'm basically wanting this to be on here just to give me a little bit of height and a little bit of stability on this piece. And like I said, this will be the hardest part of this entire project, will be getting this lettering on just like you want it. And see, it's definitely off down here. It looks like right there is where it got off at. So what I'm going to do now, because it doesn't look like my glue is working here, I'm going to go in and just dot a little bit more glue, and I'm going to pull that to match. Just like that. And I'm going to grab a wet wipe for a couple of reasons. Anytime you're using foil and glue, go back over your foil and clean off that glue so you don't get a cloudiness on it. And then of course I'm going to clean the glue off of my work surface. And now we need to build that up one more time. And this one hopefully will be a little bit easier because our piece is getting thicker and thicker. So that will make it easier. The thinner it is, the more it wiggles and the harder it is to get it lined up just right. So for this one I'm going to put glue directly down on this one. And again, I'm just going to do the dot dot. And what I might do is just do a couple of letters at a time. Like, let's do this M and the C and the H. We might even be able to do the R. And we'll put that down on it, and then we'll line that up, and then we'll put some more glue. And this little piece right here did not pop out. Okay, so now let's see if we can work the C. The H and the R. Then we're going to try to line up that M. That R is not quite right, so we're going to pull him over just a little bit. This is going to be so worth the trouble that we're putting into it, because I think this Merry Christmas is gorgeous and it's going to look so nice on this card with the snow and the snowman, and it's just going to be a very pretty piece when we finish. So and I know there's some of y'all that enjoy these cards that are a little fussier. And I have some of my viewers that like the more simple cards, and I will definitely be bringing simple cards throughout this series. But for the ones of us, and I have to admit that I do like a fussy card. I like the challenge, and I enjoy the process. So if you are one of those people that don't like the challenge, I'm going to challenge you to try it. Because when you do something that you feel like is too hard to do and you succeed, it gives you such a boost in your crafting ability. Now that's not perfect, but you know what? I don't think it's going to matter because it's going to look like snow. And I might even put some snow on these letters, which will make it even better. But there's that piece. And it does have a little bit of glue on it, so it's not shining as good as I would like it, but I'm going to clean it up. And that is ready to go down. So let's bring our card back over. Make sure my surface is dry. And this is what we have so far. We have our little snowman. We've got our little framelit and our snowdrift or flurries. I think we're going to glue that to there. But I think right now what I want to do is I want to concentrate on the inside. And what do I want to do on the inside before I fix the outside? I'm thinking this other piece that I cut is going to live right here. So let's go ahead and put some glue down. And I'm making sure that I'm getting good glue in these little points and my corners. And then I'm just going to squish some glue throughout that part of it. And then we're just going to put this down right about here. And press it down. And I need a stamp set that will say what I need it to say inside for the flurries that we're having. And I think for the inside I am going to I love this stamp set right here. This one is called Celebrate the Season. I'm going to use, I think, this sentiment right here. And let's see if we're going to have room for this one. If not, I may have to go with the smaller Merry Christmas, but I love this big one. Nope, I think I'm going to have to go with the smaller one. But that's okay. It's I want a nice sentiment in this card. So when you put this much work in a card, you want the card to speak to you. And I think this is definitely what I want. So we're going to put Merry Christmas right there. And then you still got room here to sign around it. So I think what I might do is bring it down just a little bit. And you can have family members sign around that, and it would be gorgeous. So I'm going to load up my stamps on a stamp block. I wish maybe I'll do my press. That way I can get that all in one shot. So if you have a press like this, this would be a great place to use it. Because you can just press that down, pick up your stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that over, and I'm going to ink this up with my VersaFine. my VersaFine Onyx Black. Making sure I had that the right way. I was looking at it upside down, and of course I was looking at it backwards, and it looked like it was I had put it on there backwards, but that is exactly the way I want it. So I'm going to sit that down right here, and with the press you have some wiggle room to adjust it where you want it, and I think right there is where I want it. And then you can just press. Having those little rubber feet on this Fiskars press is just wonderful. Of course, like I've told you so many times, these Fiskar stamp blocks and presses are my favorite, and if you have not invested in some, they are so well worth the money. I'm just giving that ink time to transfer onto that paper before I lift this. And I'm trying to put some nice even pressure on it. I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. Now if I could find my stamp scrubby, which it's over here underneath a bunch of stuff. I wonder if y'all's craft room looks like mine when you're crafting. Now, so this ink does not transfer up on this side of my card, I am going to take just a scrap piece of paper. Let's see if I got a piece of white that I don't really care about. This is a piece right here where I was working on something that did not pan out for me. So I'm just going to lay that inside while I decorate the outside. And that's just so I don't get ink up on that top. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put this down, and I am going to use my ATG. You can use your glue. I'm just going to do this for the sake of the video to make it a little bit faster than putting the glue down. I think I can stick this down much faster, like so. And then post. And then I want to see if I can get this just perfectly on here. And that looks really good. And now we're going to do the same thing for this. But before I do this, I have some of this little shimmer spray. Okay, we're back, and this piece has dried enough now where, I don't know if you can see the shimmer now. A lot of times the shimmer does not show up on the camera, but looking at this, it's very glossy, and it looks like snow fell on it, or it's just been frosted over, and I love that look. So I am going to turn that over, and this is why I had to wait for it to dry. I couldn't turn it over to either put glue on it or my tape runner. Okay, we are back, and sorry for the interruption, but I did have a phone call. I have gone ahead and put the ATG adhesive on the back of this, and now what I'm going to do is I want this the more frosted side to be on this side, and the reason for that is because my little snowman's going to live over there. And then I'm just going to put this down, eyeballing it, like right in the middle, and press that down. Now the next thing I want to put down is my little flourish of snow. And like I told you earlier in this video, if you do not have a die that looks like this one, you can cut some little snowflakes and just kind of bounce them around everywhere. If you have a little flourish that has swirls on it, you can cut you some little snowflakes like this and just glue them on it. There's a lot of ways that you can get around if you do not have this particular die. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this on, and to do that I'm going to use some art glitter glue, and I'm just going to take in some little places here and there where I want to make sure that this adheres to. I'm going to put some little droplets of glue all along, like I said, I don't want to over glue. I just want to get a little bit of glue in different places so that it would adhere. You know, I got glue on my mat. Let me see if I can wipe that up. I don't want to put my card in that glue. Okay. Now I am going to take this, and I just want to set it right down here on that edge. Maybe up just a hair. And I want it to look like that's kind of going downhill. That's exactly the way I want that to look. Now we got that on, we are ready to put our little snowman on, and I want him to sit right about there. And I want him to kind of sit back like he's leaning back. He's being all proud of his little self. I think he likes his hat. It's his hat and his broom and his scarf are just adorable, along with his carrot nose. I think he is just super cute. And he's going to look so cute just living right there. And if you notice, I didn't pop him up. There is so much going on this card. I don't think that he needed to be popped. I do want a little bit of glue under that nose because I don't want that nose to get broke off. Alright, so we got that on there. So the next thing I want to do is I want the Merry Christmas to be right about there. And I am going to put this down again with my glue. And sometimes it is a little tedious gluing these little pieces. It's so hard to get the glue on them. You end up getting the glue all over you, and sometimes it can be a little difficult, but I promise that doing a card like this is so worth it, because look at the impact this card is going to make. Now the reason I decided to go with the gold, the silver instead of the gold, is because I have these little snowflakes were sent to me by Donna Satterley, and they came in the mail yesterday. She had told me that she had gotten some dies that were little tiny snowflakes. Now when she told me she was going to send me some, I wasn't even thinking about this card, although I did know I wanted to make this card. It was not in my it wasn't in my arsenal at that point. And I got these yesterday. What perfect timing. I think that one will look good right there. Now look how stinking cute those snowflakes look on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my little picky tool, or I think this is called a jewel picker. I'm going to pick these up. I've got them placed where I want them. And all I'm going to do is put down a little dab of glue. And this way I make sure that I get them all right where I want them. And I will go back and press them down really tight once I get all of them where I want them. But I told Donna when I talked to her, I did talk to her yesterday, and when I talked to her, I told her, I said, you know what? I said, those snowflakes could not have came at a more perfect time. And I told her that they were going to go on this Christmas card that I'm doing for the Monday Christmas card. So she was very pleased that I had gotten them and that I was going to use them on this card. So I think they are gorgeous. And I love the way they look on this card. I think that's going to need, maybe not. That's good. Okay, and that's how easy it was to get those down. Now I am going to go back and I'm going to press. Let me get my pen back in my glue. Might have to clean this glue off just a little bit. Maybe my pen too. Like I said, ever so often I just have to wipe the top of that glue off and the pen. I do love my stopper toppers. Since Meme told us how to use these, and I haven't had any trouble with my pen bending, which is great. Alright, You see that, putting that on the cardstock first, it gives us that little bit of dimension that we need. Now this card is complete and ready to send out. Oh, I did lose a, I lost a, I think it was right there, I think. I think it might have been right here. Maybe we didn't even glue this one down. I am not sure, but I do have one more thing I need to do on this card, but I am going to put this one right here on this little edge, like so. And I'm going to go back and press each one of these down. And I've got this little piece. Let's get this little jewel picker and see if we can use it to get the dot over the I in Christmas. And this was not the piece that was intended to be the I, or the dot on the I, but you know what? That is going to work. And that is our finishing touch on this card. Now I may do a few little sparkly snowflakes right here. I don't have that small, the small ones, but you know what? Yes, I do. This is the rest of the ones that Donna sent me. I almost forgot that I did not use them all. So guess what I'm going to do? I am going to put some of those around this sentiment. Oh, and Donna, if you're watching this video, which I'm pretty sure you will be watching it when it goes up, thank you so much for these little die cuts. I love my snowflakes, and I am pretty sure that I am going to need to buy that die set. So I'm going to have to check with her and find out where she got this, because these are gorgeous. Look how pretty. I think I'm going to put a blue one right here, and let's see if we can find a pretty white one. Let's throw a white one right there, and we're going to put a blue one here, and let's see if we have another silver. Come on, silver. There's a silver, and one more. Be silver. That one's blue. Maybe I need to do them blue instead of silver. I'll tell you what, let's do silver here and blue up here, and maybe blue right here, and then we'll do silver here and blue there, and we'll do a blue one here, and maybe one silver one there. I love that. I think that's beautiful. And I still have some more of these lovely, lovely, lovely snowflakes. These are just too stinking cute. I feel like I want another one up there, but I think this is good. I think any more is going to kind of be an overkill, and I don't want to overkill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick, let me get the other side. I think the other side picks up a little bit better. Let's pick that one up, and a little squeeze of glue, and this one. And I think by putting the snowflakes on the inside, it just kind of makes the card come together as a whole. So that's what I always try to do. I want my cards to look pretty on the inside as well as the outside. And I know sometimes we don't. We just want to leave them blank and write a little note, and that's fine too. Like we always say, they're your card. Make them your own. Do your thing. And my thing might not be your thing, but it doesn't mean that we can't gain a little bit of knowledge from one another. And if y'all are wondering what I'm doing, I am trying to get that pin back in that glue. There we go. All right, and I need to clean my little picker, my little jewel picker. But this is it for this card, and look how precious it is. Is that not a stunning card? I love it. The camera does not do this card justice. I don't know if you can see that, but it is a beautiful, beautiful card. And I'm not saying it because I made it, but I am in love with it. Look at that. Ah, so excited. I can't wait for this to go up on Monday and for y'all to be able to see this. I hope that you will dig into your stash. You do not have to have this snowman. You do not have to have this flourish. You do not have to have anything that I've done here. But if you've got snowflakes, if you've got stamps, if you've got a snowman stamp, if you've got a Merry Christmas sentiment in a die cut or a stamp, you can do this card. So please don't say I can't do that, because you can. I want to thank you so much. I may go back and use some stickles, maybe a little bit of silver stickles, and put in on these little snowflakes. I'll tell you what, before we go, let's do that. Let's make our snowflakes look beautiful. I am going to pull out my silver stickles, and I'm just going to put a dab just every here and there, just a dab. And I don't want the blue to be left out, so let's see. This color is waterfall. I think that would look like snow, because if it looks like water, it can very easily look icy. And we've definitely had some icing here. And I'm not talking about the kind you put on a cake. And this looks like it's got a clog in it. I am going to have to take a pin or a needle. I used to have one laying over here that I used just for that purpose, but I'm not seeing it right this moment. And I need something that's going to help this to come out. Let me just do this. I'm going to use this wet wipe and just squeeze it really hard. Definitely got a clog in it, and I hate when my stickles get clogged. So if any of y'all know the trick to unclogging stickles, please, please tell me. I'm going to snip off just a little bit of that. I had to do that with one of my other ones the other day to get a clot out of it, and it worked really well after that. So, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Oh, there came the, whoop, I got the clot out. Look at that. So we got it now. So I'm going to come right in here, and I just want a tiny bit of this to go on each one of these little points. Like I told you when we started this card, this is a definitely fussy card where you put a lot of work in it. So if you have that special someone, that special family that means the world to you, this would definitely be the card to send to them for Christmas. I think that's great right there. I don't think I'm going to do any more. I think that gives the card exactly what it needs. And it just looks beautiful. Now what I've got to do is be patient and let this card dry completely. So I am going to do my best to not mess with it, and I'm going to lay it over on top of my Scan and Cut, because I don't anticipate using Scan and Cut today. So I think it'll be safe right there. So anytime you use stickles or anything like that that needs to dry, find a place to lay your card where you know that you're not going to have to disturb it, and just let it sit and dry. And then your card will be done, and you can put it in your envelope and send it off, and it is a beautiful card. I will put all the items that I used along with the measurements and everything in the blog post. And not the blog post, I don't have my blog up yet, but it is coming. And we will everything that you need to be there. If you need to get in touch with me, you can reach me through my email. I do have a P.O. box now, and I am going to be listing that on the end of all of my videos. So if anybody wants to reach out to me in any way, you can do that either through my email, kathychampion31155@gmail.com, or you can reach me at my P.O. box, which is P.O. Box 547, Kings Mountain, North Carolina 28086. I'm sorry. And I know that's different than my home address because I live in Gastonia, but Kings Mountain is a very convenient place for me to go to pick up mail from a P.O. box. So I feel comfortable now to publish that and put it out there. So things are coming along, and I am advancing in a lot of different areas that I'm very excited about. And y'all just stay tuned, because we've got a lot of wonderful things coming up. I want to thank you so much for tuning in again today. This is the second part and the final part of our series on the Christmas card. And I'm gonna grab that card and bring it back over, because I just want you to see it one more time. There we go. Is that not gorgeous? And I'm going to zoom you in so you can see it. Whoops, a little bit too close. Right there, it's really good. So God bless you all. Thank you again for tuning in, for joining me in my craft room, and most of all, for being my friend. I count each and every one of my viewers and my subscribers as my friend. And a reminder too, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button below the video. And if you want to be notified of my upcoming videos, just ring that bell, and you can choose how many that you want to be notified, whether you just want a few or if you want all. It's totally up to you. But please do subscribe. Give me a thumbs up on this video, and if you have time and you would, leave me a comment. I love to read your comments. It makes me feel like I know you, and I want to get to know all of you. So again, thank you so much. God bless you. Let everything that you do and say bring glory to His name. And I pray for each and every one of you in the name of Jesus. I pray that you would be prosperous and blessed, that you would have good health and happiness. And until we craft again, this is me, from my heart to yours. I love you all, and have a very blessed day. Bye-bye.